Good afternoon, everyone joining us. We are the Hawaii Filmmakers Collective producers, and we're going to screen our films. We're super stoked to have you all joining us on a Friday. Thank you so much for dedicating your Friday to celebrating these producers in the room with us. And we already have a question from Jerry Lynn. She raised her hand. We're super excited to celebrate the success of these producers that I have on the call with me. I am going to be going through a couple of thanks to the people who supported us during this feeder program, during this lab. I'll introduce our panelists, and then we're going to sort of walk you through what the agenda is going to look like today. Oh my gosh, I love the chat is like off the wall. I can barely focus. So welcome. My name is Mary. I'm the executive director of Hawaii Filmmakers Collective. HFC is a nonprofit focused on fostering and showcasing independent filmmakers in Oahu and the other islands, as well as places like Colorado and New Zealand. We have a few people from other places. So what you're about to witness before you is the screening of these producers' films. So over the past 4 months, everyone on this call participated in the Producers Lab. They learned and produced and are screening their films today that they made very recently. So this is fresh content brought to you by these panelists. And the feeder program was generously sponsored by Michael Palmieri. I'd like to give him a huge thank to supporting HFC in terms of funding, but also providing mentorship. So I could facilitate a producers lab that was successful to every single producer here. And so I'd really like to throw it out to Michael for helping me along the way. As I talked to our producers before everyone was sort of trickling into the waiting room, we could not have done this without our instructors. They were imperative in walking us through the fundamentals of producing, and each one of them shared their sort of niche element of producing, even though they are not just one-faceted, they are all around amazing producers in Hawaii. So I'd like to thank Jason Lau, Lizette Flannery, Connie Flores, Allison Week, Brandon Yoder, Robert Bates, Tom Schneider, Zoe Eisenberg, and Jeff Orig for walking us through the fundamentals. We're super grateful for your time and attention, and we could not have done it without you. I'd also like to thank anyone in the audience who was a part of the Screenwriters Lab. They did a super hard thing, which is finishing a script. All of these programs were virtual, so it was cool to create sort of this community of producers and screenwriters. And I think most of our favorite day was combining with the Screenwriters Lab. So I just want to congratulate the screenwriters for finishing their scripts, and also to Alexander Dede for running an amazing screenwriters workshop, Screenwriters Lab. So without further ado, I'm going to walk us through sort of what today is going to look like, and then introduce our very patient producers on the panel. So Julian Cepeda, our director of showcasing, he's a fresh face here at HFC. He will be dropping links to the films, and then you will, in your own time, in your own web browser, go watch the film. We're going to mute ourselves in the webinar. We'll give you a timeline to let you know how long each film is going to last. And then when you start hearing us chatter and clap the producer in, join us back on the webinar, and we'll have a Q&A. Sort of give dedicated time to each producer and get to know what it was like to produce their film. So I'd also encourage the audience, for everyone joining us, be active on the chat, encourage each other. It's one of the most difficult things about the pandemic is being in the same room as your friends and your filmmakers. It's one of the things that's been greatly lost. And so as much as we can, I'd like to simulate just like that excitement of being in the room. So congratulate Morgan when she steps up to the plate. Congratulate Oleg, Tara, Sylvia, Carlton, and definitely give Jillian some shout outs for being amazing. Yay, thanks, Jeff. Okay, so with that, I'd like to introduce Julian Sapita, our director of showcasing. He's going to share a few words about what he's going to do for us during this webinar, and then I'll introduce our producers.
Hey everybody, so I'm Julian Cepeda. I'm the director of showcasing for HFC. Super excited to be here. I'll be, promoting all of our filmmakers within HFC. We're really excited to bring on a bunch of different films for this event. We hope to be bringing on more for the end of 2020 and going into 2021. Be on the lookout for our emails and things of that nature. We have a lot going on for the end of this year as well as moving forward into 2021. We know that everything with COVID is making it harder for us to film, but during these trying times, we want to make sure that we stay united. We can continually create content and continually create and impact the world in any way possible. We have a bunch of producers here that all have amazing films that I know I'm excited to see. It'll be my first time as well. And so I'm going to pass it off to Carlton, who's going to introduce himself and the name of his film.
Hi, I'm Carlton Saito. And the name of my film is Monday Morning Mysterians.
Carlton, we're super stoked for you. I gotta say, Carlton's is intense. I can't give it a rating, but if you got kids watching, just kind of like keep them away from the screen maybe. We're gonna start off with a finger. All right, so Julian's gonna drop the link in the chat. Carlton's film is about 9 minutes long, 9:15. So after you finish the film, come meet us back at the webinar. We're going to celebrate Carlton and move along with the screenings.
All right, everybody. I just sent the link now to all panelists and all attendees. Go ahead and click that link and be back by 4:18.
Incredible job, Carlton.
Thank you.
I think people are still finishing out the film a little bit, but if you're just now joining us on the webinar, Julian will be dropping links into the chat. No worries, no worries. And he will send you off on your own web browser to the film. But Carlton, nice work. Nice job.
Thank you. And I owe it all to my cast and crew. So I'd like to mention them right now and thank them. Mandy Chang as Jessica, Karen Dang as Samantha, Jerry Lynn Endo as Emily, and June Jones, not the football coach, but June Jones as Ashley. They did a fantastic job. I also like to thank Peter Chang, Mandy's husband, for doing the camera work in the hallway and at Mandy at her desk.
So we're going to dedicate the next couple of minutes to asking Carlton a couple of questions about his film, because Carlton is our resident writer. He snuck into the Producers Lab. So Carlton, I'm dying to know, what was it like directing over Zoom?
It was really interesting. Little frustrating at first until I got the hang of it. But what I found is when I'm showing gallery view, it's great that you can see the reactions of all the participants at the same time. So whereas I would normally be cutting in between various close-ups, the gallery view can show everything. I did have a little problem when I did speaker view. If someone else said something, the screen would shift to them. But now I think I can just use Spotlight to keep it on the person talking. So I've already written this next episode and passed that script on to the cast. Trying to develop this into a web series and who knows, maybe a feature.
Of murder mysteries over Zoom.
Yeah.
So before everyone hopped on the call, we were having a quick powwow with our producers, and Julian asked everyone what their word was. Carlton, do you remember what you said, Julian?
I said interaction.
Interaction.
Because this film actually is about the interaction between the four characters, especially the interplay between the newcomer, Jessica, and the snarky veteran, Ashley.
Yeah. And
Oh, I
their
also like to mention that when we're shooting and we came to the end of the script, I encouraged the cast to continue improving in character, because I thought, well, if nothing else, I can use it as outtakes for maybe another clip or add on. But some of those improvs are so good that I put it into the actual film. So the part after Jessica leaves is improv, and I give all the credit to those fantastic ladies.
Cool.
Very awesome. Very awesome.
That's awesome. And Carlton among Morgan and maybe Tara. So Tara's another producer with us, and Morgan. Carlton, Morgan, Tara, they all had to sort of pivot their narratives because of the pandemic and because of the restrictive rules. So Carlton, are you glad you pivoted? Are you glad you kind of made a film that was more COVID compliant, I guess?
I am glad I pivoted. I didn't want to take any risks, and shooting on Zoom was a whole new experience. So I learned a lot from that. Mm-hmm. And it gave me a chance to work with this fantastic cast.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Carlton, when do you think is the next time we'll be able to see the next episode?
I still have to touch bases with all my cast, but maybe by the end of the year.
Awesome. And where can our HFC members find more information about your films?
Well, I have a Facebook page that I posted the film to that. I also posted the film to Vimeo and YouTube. So what you folks were watching was the Vimeo link.
Cool.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Carlton.
Thank you.
Right.
Nice. I see Jason's already giving you. Yeah, great job, Carlton. I said this earlier on the webinar, but it's one of the saddest things is not being able to screen films together. It's so much fun just getting together, watching movies, hanging out at the studio. But I have to say, when I was watching Carlton's film just now, I saw all the panelists' faces, and it's so fun to see their reactions. I know this platform isn't ideal, but hopefully it'll be somewhat of a celebration for each of you. So Carlton, again, congrats. Feel free to share your Vimeo links, all your contact information in the chat. We're gonna pass it off to Tara. Tara West, she is our Big Island resident living in Colorado right now. So that was definitely a huge plus of having this virtual platform, as we can include some of our Ohana from other places. So Tara's is called The Long Road Ahead. And this was your first time film making, right?
Yeah. I co-produced a short film with somebody else, but I didn't do any of the filming or editing or anything. So yeah, my first time.
Sweet, handling it all.
Yes.
All right, so Julian's gonna drop the link into the chat. I think our attendees have sort of gotten the hang of it. At least our attendance has increased since then. It hasn't decreased. So Tara's is about 6 minutes. But you'll hear us start chatting on the webinar. So join us in about 6 minutes.
Link is on there. We'll see you guys at 4:31 p.m. Enjoy.
Tara, awesome job.
Amazing, Tara. Congrats. Round of applause.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Awesome.
I felt myself, I watched your film yesterday and I felt myself smiling the whole time. And then I was watching all of our producers just like grinning the whole time.
Yeah, it's so
Congrats.
fun. It's so fun to watch like everyone's reactions. It's like the best part, I feel like.
Well, you're getting some mad feedback from Jason in the chat, but I just wanted to ask, like, because it was your first time sort of tackling everything, what was your biggest challenge?
Oh my gosh, I feel like just balancing like everything. So doing like the camera and directing and editing, and I was like, this is why people have crews. Like this is a lot, and like filming and directing at the same time. That's just like so difficult. So that was my most challenging part of it, I think. Just balancing all the different roles. Yeah.
We have a question from the audience, Tara. It says, lots of locations. How long did it take to film?
Yeah, it took me about 2 days, but I only had the dog Gus for like a few hours. So I was trying to get all of those like outdoor shots in like that certain amount of time, which was like stressful. Yeah.
The dog did incredible.
Yeah, the dog was great.
Yeah, the dog was like the star. I feel like. It was so fun. Honestly, I have a lot of like funny like bloopers of the dog just like not listening and like running around because it was like it's such a like hyper excited dog. So yeah, it was interesting. Like it was very different having to work with an animal, but it was fun. Yeah.
Well, if there are any other questions in the audience, Julian, feel free to interrupt. But Tara, your word was heartfelt. So why was that important for you to get across in your film?
I think the story just felt super meaningful to me personally. And I think a lot of people can kind of relate to it because the main character is kind of taking like a difficult circumstance and trying to make the best out of it, which is what we have to do in life sometimes. So I think that's why it was meaningful to me. Yeah.
Okay. Do any of our other producers have any questions for Tara? We've all lived together virtually for...
I actually had a question for Tara, if that's okay. Tara, what inspired the music? I thought the music really was amazing and really guided the story very well. And the transitions were amazing. I just felt those two went hand in hand. So what inspired the music for you?
Awesome. Yeah. I actually, well, my like main inspiration was if you've ever seen the film Into the Wild. I feel like everyone has seen that movie, but yeah, kind of like the soundtrack from that movie kind of inspired me, like the indie folk vibes. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And where can we find more information about some of your films and some of the work that you'll be doing in the future?
Yeah, I actually have a YouTube channel. It's called, I could type it in the chat or just tell you guys, but it's called, my name on there is Tara Wonder. And I make a bunch of just like little funny skits, and I hope to post more of like my short films and stuff on there. So yeah.
Gabrielle from the screenwriters. Oh, sorry, Carlton. Go ahead.
Tara, what resolution did you shoot the drone shots in and the regular camera shots?
The resolution, I'd have to look that up.
Okay, that's all right. You can tell me later.
Okay, yeah, I'll email you.
Carlton's all about the specs.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so Gabrielle had a question. She was in our screenwriters lab. She's curious about the motivation for no speech except the Cymbalta commercial.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was originally, so I kind of strayed a lot from my script. Like I originally was going to have kind of like a voiceover situation so you could kind of tell what's going on in the character's head. But then it kind of ended up feeling a little cheesy to me, but also I'm like not the best screenwriter, so maybe I just like need to like work on my dialogue. But yeah, so I ended up just using music because I feel like the shots and the characters' actions kind of spoke for themselves.
Yeah. Awesome. And Connie had a great question. Do you intend to extend to a feature?
Ooh, possibly. I just noticed so many things that I'm like, oh, I want to like redo like so many different things. So I kind of want to make it longer and like maybe end up doing some more dialogue and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a possibility for sure. Yeah.
Well, Tara, congrats. I'm
Thank
so
you,
proud of you.
Thank you.
It's been great watching you grow and make your first film. That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's been such an awesome experience. So yeah.
So we're gonna move on to Oleg, and we're not gonna leave until we know everyone has the link. So Oleg's is about 3.5 minutes, and you'll of course hear us chatting when you're done watching the film. So enjoy watching Oleg's trailer.
I just posted the film for everybody on Vimeo, Jack and Kiana by Oleg. Be back here by about 4:41 or 4:42. Enjoy.
Thank you.
This platform is so hilarious, just watching everyone's faces.
Yeah. Well,
So,
as you guessed, yeah, that's not a full movie. It's like a trailer that the most interesting part is missing. And yeah, hopefully we'll be ready soon.
Yeah. So I want to start with your one word. We keep referring back to Julian's amazing structure of simpling down your film to one word. So have you decided beautiful or inspiring?
Well, so far more beautiful than inspiring, but I think it's still a parody. So beautiful, inspiring slash as that. And I like the conflict of too. Sometimes like I think you turn on for beauty and you leave with inspiration. That's the key.
Nice.
Oleg, I have a question for you, and I think I really enjoyed the transition. What inspired you to transition? With the camera and having the phone kind of being as this silhouette as we were going through the shots. I thought that was done really well. What was your inspiration for that, and how did you come up with that?
Well, I have a photography background, and it's like visual things. I really like them. So I was thinking even before, like, oh, I want this like shot. I want this shot. So I had this idea how to like project what we think to what is going on outside, because like we are working but we are thinking of a beautiful girl, or we are looking at a girl but we think about work, and like that's like two things in our mind. It just keeps that. And also I just like in actually the whole movie has a lot of dialogue, so just shooting a dialogue would be kind of boring at the end. So I thought, okay, I don't want to show a dialogue like people talking for 10 and 20 minutes. But yeah, that's like a way out.
So Oleg, technically your film is very unique and very different because you shot everything. Walk us through your process. You shot everything and then recorded the dialogue?
Yeah, I shot everything and then I recorded dialogue separately in the studio. Well, partner, but and in the studio too. And yeah, that's, well, audio is not my strength. So especially to do that on the beach is kind of impossible. If you ever tried, it's really impossible. So that's kind of solution. And I think there is some creative part to that, as well as the dialogue. It's a little, maybe I was thinking maybe create like a memory of that dialogue if I had some visuals there, but yeah. Like,
we have a question from the audience from Jeff. He says, what was the missing part? So talk a little bit about some more of the things you wanted to add.
Well, the missing part was that this guy comes like thinking that he knows everything about life, and then basically the girl breaks him apart, his ideology. And that's the missing part, how she does that. And then he realized that, she's actually smarter than I am at some point. Awesome. But in the end, he's happy that she's smarter than him, because that made him happy, and he wasn't really that happy before.
So Oleg, if our members want to know more information about just this film and other films you may be working on, where can they find it?
Well, I still don't have set up my marketing strategy, but I have an Instagram, and I usually use that for that.
Oleg, if you want to go ahead and write that in the chat so everybody
I will.
follow you.
Well,
and see any updates that they have on your films. It'd be amazing. I'll pass it back to Mary.
Yeah, I'm not monitoring the chat as much as Julian is, but I think there was a question about the budget, which I want to call out because Oleg is our resident accountant. He has a lot of experience managing money.
yeah, I used to be investment manager and my life work in finance, so I got budgeting quite good. And yeah, it's a little to not, I would say not no money, but some money, like very small budget.
Range, give us a range.
But I had my gear from photography, which is
yeah,
quite a good camera. And
well, as
I
Connie
also want
taught
to
us,
thank my actors too.
Yeah.
Really good. And I see one of the questions like, where did you get the actors? Well, Oahu. Oahu, that's where they live.
well, as Connie Flores taught us, your project always has a value. So never downplay your short film. It still has a value.
Yeah, exactly. That's why budget is a secret, because the real value is a lot.
I think she'll take that answer. All right, so we're gonna move on. Congrats, Oleg. Awesome job. We're super stoked for you. These are huge hurdles. So yeah, Puppets at Work by Morgan Ritchie. Hers is just coming in at 8 minutes. So we will see you back around
4:55.
Thank you, Julian.
No worries. Got you. Enjoy the movie, guys.
Enjoy. Congrats,
Amazing
Morgan.
job, Morgan. Woo!
So I'm gonna need some help from the audience for this next question. One of the things we learned in the producers table were our goals. Like, what was our goal for our film? And Morgan had a really easy metric. She just wanted to get four laughs out loud from people she didn't know. So if you don't know Morgan Ritchie and you are watching now, can you please just put in the chat if you LOL'd? Like, type LOL, ha ha ha. We just need to know if she hit her mark of 4 people. Yes.
Okay. Phew.
I think you did it. I think you did it.
Well, I gotta give a shout out because I have to say, I gotta say Taylor Groover, like she was my #1 partner. She directed and edited it for me.
Yep.
And like, I couldn't have done this without her, but also I gotta just say, thank you, everybody. I'm glad you laughed. I've been on the edge of my seat. You don't know. But I want to say thank you to David, Sally, Rachel, Kelly, and Ken, and also Becca. I don't know if she's here. She wrote the music. She totally blew me away with the music.
Killed it.
And then also all of my actors really brought a lot to this. So it was really, really fun.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so stoked for your cast and crew. And you know, like I said earlier, Carlton, Tara, and Morgan, you all pivoted, and that's such a hard thing to change your mind, especially as you're producing and directing and maybe writing. But I gotta say, I think you got more than 4 laughs. So you definitely goal set in a very healthy way.
Morgan, that was amazing. I felt like I was watching, it was like Sesame Street for adults on Adult Swim. And it was perfect. I honestly really, really liked it. I gotta ask, what was the inspiration for the costume designs? Because I mean, from the way just it opened up with like the old school, like AOL, AIM kind of looking thing, I really just enjoyed the costumes and the conversations. All of it was amazing. But how was the costume design for you?
Well, that was a collaboration with Taylor and I. We talked about who the characters were, and decided on colors. Taylor actually put together a whole like set design, and then Rachel Chapman and we made the puppets with socks, and that was actually the biggest part of my budget was socks. Because we went, Rachel, I'm sure was really good at it. She was a puppeteer, but I went through a lot of socks before I got the 2 puppets that I made. So yes, my sock budget was high. Yeah, that was I don't know. You didn't ask that question, but yeah.
No, that was good. That was great. where can people find more information about some of the films that you're doing? And does this film have potential for another episodic kind of sock adventure? Will we ever see what happens with Fifi Fifi and her story of flipping off the director?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it so that it could be a series if I wanted it to be. It's Puppets at Work presents the Fingerfresh team meeting. So if I wanted to do other Puppets at Work, I could. It's really cheap and easy to produce, and it was completely all in isolation. We never saw one another. I just don't know if I have to think about, you know, if I want to continue with it. I'm just not sure. So I haven't made that decision yet. But I have a website and I have Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I'll throw the links in the chat for everybody.
Speaking of the chat, we got some questions coming in. So I'm gonna hit you with two as you're typing. So the first question is, what inspired the project with puppets from Elijah?
Well, I actually had 2 scripts before this, and I pivoted twice because of the increasing restrictions. And just as we were getting ready to do this, unfortunately, we had to lock down completely. So I thought maybe I like the idea of the puppets having a life of their own, that they live amongst us. And I really like The Office. So my inspiration was Greg the Bunny. I don't know, it's kind of a failed series, but it's hilarious. And The Office.
Awesome. Good. What else we have? Let's see. I'm just going through the chat. Mary, if you wanna take over.
Well, actually, Morgan, I would recommend you screenshotting the chat. I don't know, you know how movie posters have like accolades from magazines or like IndieWire or whatever. I feel like this chat has so much credibility to Drunk Puppets, so good.
Right.
I do want to say, and you know, Morgan knows me, and every session when she pitched after like the 3rd class what her actual project would be with the puppets, I laughed like every single session, not at Morgan but with her, because it's just something we really needed during these times. I think the pandemic really wear it on all of us, and I really I was inspired by how Morgan took her project, and instead of letting it be something that was a burden, when you started the program, you had projects that became very burdensome. And you used that opportunity to majorly adjust your course and do something not just for yourself, but for us. And like, I think all of us on a late Friday night, like we're missing our families, we just want to be with everyone. You gave us like an amazing opportunity to just let go and enjoy. And that's a skill set. So Maureen, congrats.
Thank you. My cast and crew made this an utter joy for me, and I just want to thank them.
Now we're gonna move on to Sylvia with her pitch deck for Tip of the Spear. And this is a little bit different than dropping a Vimeo link. Sylvia has a huge project to tackle, and right now you're in R&D with this project called Tip of the Spear. So Sylvia is going to share her screen and share with us a little bit about her project. Take it away, Sylvia.
So kia ora, aloha, and happy day. I'm Sylvia Frayne, and I'm going to be pitching Tip of the Spear. It's a community-driven documentary short film currently in pre-production. And this project stems from over 2 years of on-the-ground reporting by Chamorro journalist Sophie Perez, who's also the director, and over 10 years of my experience in research. If you don't know, the Marianas Islands, Guam and the Northern Marianas, are insular areas of the United States, meaning the residents are US citizens and serve in the US forces, but do not vote for US president or have representation in Congress. Our logline is, Marianas Islands born and US educated lawyer Kimberlyn Kim King Hines takes a stand against the US military, one of the most powerful military forces in the world, when her ancestral homeland risks becoming the US Navy's next bombing range. Time is running out as the military has already begun construction on the neighboring island. Our synopsis. The Marianas Islands are known as the tip of the spear, the nexus of US military operations in Asia. Here, the indigenous Chamorro people are defending their ancestral homeland, while the US Navy builds destructive weapons ranges. This short documentary follows Chamorro lawyer Kim's resistance as she navigates local and US legal systems and reckons with the duality of her Chamorro and American identities to fight for her island home. Our locations include 4 islands in the Marianas, so Guam to the south, then Saipan, Tinian, and Pagan in the north. We have a creative team based on Guam, Mighty Island Productions, consisting of local artists with a US Continental Film School education and 2 red camera packages. Our creative team on Saipan, around the islands, is composed of 3 young indigenous and up-and-coming artists from the video department of the local newspaper, the Marianas Variety. Mighty Islands Productions has committed to lending their collective talents, not only to create the short film during production, but also to guide our Around the Islands crew through every step, pre-production, production, and post-production process. We believe this mentorship is likely to unlock previously untapped potential in the Marianas Islands and creating a foundation for future filmmakers and storytellers from the region. Our current research and development budget includes the cost to develop an impact strategy early on from the very first stages, as well as travel between the Marianas Islands, which is surprisingly costly, as well as all stages of production. Our distribution plan includes regional film festivals, as well as hopefully ones in the continental United States, online streaming platforms, and to eventually use the film as a free educational tool. Our impact strategy is guided by the Impact Field Guide and Toolkit from Art to Impact, created by Doc Society and incorporates over 20 years of practice. Our target audience are US continental citizens with full democratic voting rights. Images from the community include Kim here in the center and out of the US Federal Courthouse in Saipan, along with the community, a sacred site on Tinian, as well as images captured by Mighty Islands during a march for self-determination on Guam. Our comps include similar documentary films. The ones on the top, captured in the region, Insular Empire and the War for Guam, but now needing to be updated. With the documentaries on the bottom, more recent, but not specifically from the Marianas. So one documented in the Federated States of Micronesia and one most recently on Mauna Kea. Our timeline includes lots of research and development funding applications. So beginning here in June and July, as well as this fantastic collective and producers lab, as well as Hawaii Doc Club's courses. I'm honored to give this presentation here today and look forward to beginning the Creative Lab Hawaii Indigenous Storytellers ideation next weekend, as well as Good Pitch Aotearoa's workshops. Our goal is to launch the Marianas mentorship in pre-production by the end of the year and hopefully begin production on the islands in early 2021. Again, our goals are really about impact, creating a strategy and launching a campaign, establishing an inter-island mentorship to upskill young Chamorro filmmakers, and to continue to foster this type of digital fluidity or solidarity across Oceania, as I am presenting to you today from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and include Hawaii and Micronesia. I would just like to conclude by saying mahalo, suzusamasi, and kiora. This Producers Lab was my crash course in producing film production, so I'm so grateful to my fellow filmmakers. It's been awesome to see your films today, as well as the instructors and guest lecturers for their insight and guidance. Here's to making more films.
Congrats, Sylvia. Thank you so much. Sylvia, I just want to say you're tackling such an amazing story, such an important story. And I really, really, really appreciate you sharing your pitch deck. That is not easy to do, especially on such a wide audience, such a huge audience. Thank you for sharing. And I want to brag on Sylvia a little bit. During the whole Producers Lab, she stayed very, very true to simply producing, to becoming an impact producer. And as independent filmmakers, it's really hard for us to stay focused and to stay centered on that one task. We tend to sort of tackle it all. But I just want to say, congrats, Sylvia. That's a super amazing thing. It's very responsible. It's responsible producing. And all of us on the panel, as well as in the audience, are super stoked to support you.
Love you guys.
The chat is blowing up. Lizette did call out good pitch local Hawaii. And so we're super hopeful you'll be pitching Tip of the Spear there. What was, especially since your project was so unique and different from the narratives that were shown, what was the biggest thing you learned, the most helpful thing, talking with all the instructors?
Yeah, I think it was a really special experience that we were all kind of learning together while our end products are all very different, and it's exciting to see a lot of the principles and the work ethic and the budgeting and, like you said, staying true to what is it we're doing. It was a supportive, growing experience. So I guess something as simple as the log line. Yes, it's only a few sentences, but writing it again and again and again and having that kind of be your guide throughout the whole project to bring you back if you go off track.
Yeah. And what was the biggest challenging thing you learned that you're going to take forward into the documentary as a producer?
Well, trying to raise funds, writing grant applications, you can pour your heart and soul into them and you think you got it down, and funders might be looking for something different, but that shouldn't prevent you from trying again and looking elsewhere and keep going. I really believe in the community and the project and our creative team in Guam and Saipan, and I just feel lucky that I can coordinate from down in this part of the Pacific. So keep going. Yeah.
I love that your project basically is connecting all the different countries and islands. That's such a hard task, and all of us are here to support you, and you're already doing it. You have such a huge community here in Hawaii, not just Oahu. And so we're here to support. Please send the links or the Instagram, Facebook, whatever you have collected for the project Tip of the Spear. Does anyone have any questions for
Sylvia, I have a question. If anyone's interested in being a part of this team to help assemble or to help you with some of the grant writing, and the chat is just going off right now, which is amazing because it's so much support. But if people want to be a part of it and help push it forward, what would you recommend they do?
I guess I'll just put my email in the chat at this stage. It's kind of just me. So I would love, it is all about community. Yeah. So the more people, and these are similar issues. If I could just also end with a plug for the Guam International Film Festival is happening even today, and it's free, it's online. So I'll include that chat as well. There's some amazing work coming out of the Marianas Islands already. And so if we can just keep that connection going, I think, yeah, the future's bright.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Sylvia, you did like a super hard thing. It's hard to screen your film, but it's also really hard to like open your sock drawer, for lack of a better word. Open your sock drawer and like share your pitch deck. That's super hard. Normally that happens in like very intimate rooms, but thank you for doing that. And please, yes, share the Guam Film Festival to us in the chat. And screenshot the chat, like I told Morgan, there's a lot of support. Okay, so the panelists we have with us, they were watching as Sylvia was presenting, but we're gonna see if our last producer, who's not on the panel with us right now, Adam, joins us. We're gonna share his film. It's called Hallie Do It. It's about 12 minutes. I would suggest kicking back and relaxing and really enjoying his film. This is gonna be a good one to end on. And you'll hear us chatting to close out the evening. So enjoy Hallie Do It by Adam.
Oh, Adam's here. I didn't even
So
know
we're kind of making history here. This is like such a typical Adam move. Like slide in at the last minute. 4:01. Class started a minute ago. We have Adam here with us. We screened his film. Everyone was watching while you slid in. Congrats, Adam. Really, really, really great job. We're super excited for you.
Thank you. I'm really sorry to everybody that I missed your films. If there's any way I can watch them, I would love to get the links.
Yeah, no, we're gonna send you everything. And I told the audience we would kind of keep this right at 5:30, so I'm low-key impressed by my producing skills on developing this timeline. But I just want to say, Adam, we started the chat with sharing one word that our film represents. And I told Julian that I would write the word down I had for you, even though I sent you an email earlier today describing like how I felt about your piece. And your film really conveys authenticity to a T. It's super authentic, not just to yourself. And I think Jason's like mad praising you, but to Brother Nolan, and that coming in with that much respect for their authenticity is super admirable, and it really conveys such a great piece. So congrats on that. And also just having a great time on set during COVID, like meeting strangers and a new place. Tell us what that was like.
Yeah, we got lucky we've been working together a little outside of the project, so we kind of feel safe around each other. Mm-hmm. As far as producing, the masks and the audio was kind of getting on my nerves, but you know, it is what it is. And yeah, it was great. We stayed outside most of the time, so we didn't feel like we were in danger or anything, and it worked out really well. I was editing until 10 o'clock this morning to get this done, so
nice.
Yeah,
work.
Great.
Nice work. Super funny. I don't know if everyone on the panel wants to share sort of their favorite part. I really like the depends, and you can't write that stuff.
Adam,
none of it was scripted.
Adam, I gotta say, man, this was really done really well, and I could see why it was edited up until the last minute, because just even the last few minutes where you had the different shots of you doing activities with the guys and the dialogue like revolving around that was done really well, and I have to applaud you. I'm definitely subscribing, and you can let our members know to just subscribe to your YouTube channel, because even outside of that, I saw you had other videos, and I'm probably gonna watch those later. But yeah,
there's some really bad stuff on there.
You're good. No worries. So when can we expect episode 2? Because like that, I mean, for me, it's kind of where I'm.
I actually have the content for episode 2. He took me out to a sheep farm, and we slaughtered and harvest meat, and that is going to be a good episode. So let me just get to it. I just wrapped this one up. But yeah, thank you so much for those kind words, dude. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well,
Anybody else got questions? Oh, sorry, Mary.
Nope, go ahead. Last minute questions. No?
Just want to applaud.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Can I just say one thing to the group?
Mm-hmm.
I actually had like a huge setback. Like as approaching this, I was super nervous to do it. as a white person, and like, I don't know, I thought I was stepping on toes. I didn't want to be too, I don't know, it's a weird kind of area. And I actually got shut down by somebody that I thought for sure was a shoo-in, and he made me feel like, I can't do this. This isn't my story to tell. But through HFC, it made me just want to keep going and always persevere, always keep going if you believe in your project. I know that sounds corny, but that's what I would just like to say to the group.
Dude, I'm about to top you with this corniness. That's awesome to hear. And I just want to reiterate, like, in closing, I know it's late on a Friday, and everyone who's attending and the panelists, all of our producers, we've watched a lot of films. This has been a really interesting platform to kind of share what we've learned. And this is super unique. It's hard to share our work as producers. And oftentimes, you know, we don't, it's hard to share what we learn and our experience and be proud of what we've made, oftentimes because we're moving on to the next project or the next episode or anything. And so I want to thank all of my producers who went through this lab. I want to thank everyone who's attending for allowing us to kind of stretch our muscles and flex a little bit. And most importantly, build a community around each other. I want to thank the instructors who have actually been the most active on the chat. I don't know if all of you realize that. The instructors that taught you the essentials of what you need to know are here to support you. You are among their network. I feel like I'm passing like the virtual metaphoric producing torch on to you all. You're professional working producers in Hawaii and in New Zealand and Colorado. And Adam, it's so funny ending on how they do it, because respect is so important in this land. It's so important in this state. And when you comment your stories and your projects that you're producing with that amount of vulnerability and respect and authenticity, you're gonna get it done, and it's not gonna be pointless. You're gonna hit bullseye every time. So I just want to end tonight. I know Zoom calls often get ended really abruptly, but I want to say congrats and welcome to the network of producers. We're so excited to build this community around you, and we're here to support you. And so please keep making work, keep producing responsibly, and I can't wait to see all of you in person one day when we're all free from this. So your last minute homework assignment, this is for the producers and everyone attending. I promise it will end. I'm going to post a link to our Facebook. We're live streaming to Facebook right now. Send your videos, comment, drop your, don't drop your email on Facebook, but your contact information, your links to your films. There you go. We want to stay connected to you. We want to celebrate you. And again, congrats. I'm super proud of you.
I just want to say, and I'm sure everyone else here wants to tell you thank you too, Mary. You're like our fearless leader, and you've been so great throughout all of this, and you're looking out for us. And so thank you.
I really appreciate it. I do it to support all of you and take care of the community and make more films. So thank you all so much. And thank you to our audience for sticking around with us. Have a great weekend, and we will see you all soon. Aloha.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks for coming.